Welcome to Infinity and Beyond, a podcast that takes a look back at the works of Pixar animation before moving onward to their newest films. Today, the wilderness must be explored, so we're going to get our podcast badges talking about Up.
Beautiful. I love it.
Daniel, you didn't say adventure is out there?
I
Well,
said the wilderness
you
must
just
be
did.
explored. That's all that's all the memes that needed.
All right, what are we called this week?
Adventures out there. Actually, we're called, what's their club called?
The Wilderness Scouts.
Yeah, I guess we'll be the Wilderness Scouts. Or can we be the Dougs?
Ours.
The Squirrels. Squirrel!
Yeah, we're the Squirrels. All right, so who the gosh darn heck are we?
Daniel Hudson.
I'm Jaron Gravely.
I'm Nora Jones.
Yep.
Not the singer.
And today is a big day. This is Pixar's 10th film.
Yeah.
Coincidentally, our 10th episode.
Indeed.
Well, y'all did go in order of film, so that would make sense.
Yeah. The only reason it wouldn't be our 10th is if we covered the shorts, but we don't do that here.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
I was thinking about mentioning doing an episode where we cover the Toy Story Christmas special.
I mean, that might not be a bad thing to do in between Onward and Soul, honestly.
Yeah.
Toy Story has a lot of specials, actually.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to doing an entire episode covering the Buzz Lightyear of Star Command TV series, because I really love that.
Well, we can talk more about Toy Story stuff next
week. Because today, we're moving on up.
You know, you had a better pun than
adventure is out there, Daniel.
The wilderness must be explored,
No,
Nora.
adventure's out there.
Ah, yes, the saying from the villain of the movie, and not the lovable sidekick.
That was his mistake.
Listen, but like that's the iconic line. Like I was even watching it, I was like, "Oh, that'll be what we say." I was let down, Daniel.
I subverted your expectations.
I was waiting for you to say it, and you went with the secondary choice. Wow.
I'm surprised you're not mad I didn't include squirrels.
Okay, listen. That's just
squirrels.
so grand that that doesn't even have to be said.
Hey, do you know how off topic we are?
We're arguing about things. It's tangentially related to the movie.
It's
fair.
Related. Jaron, we've gone way farther off the track.
That's true. We were talking about anime during Ratatouille.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is Up? Up is a 2009 movie directed by Pete Docter, co-directed by Bob Peterson, and written by the two of them, plus some other people.
Indeed.
So this is Pete Docter's second film with Pixar. Took 8 years to get another Pete Docter film.
But well worth it.
Yeah, and it looks like his turnaround time is getting faster, because Inside Out was 2015 and Soul's 2020.
Yeah.
Y'all, I feel like I should say something before we go further into this.
Go ahead.
Also, I feel like I'm going to say this. I've probably already said this a lot, but deal with it. I forgot how much I love Up. It was my number 3, and I almost want to put it as my number 1.
Wow.
Okay.
I love Up so much. It has, and I also realized it has my favorite Pixar character.
Oh.
Ooh. Is it Doug?
My favorite, even more than Edna.
Wow. Oh, wow.
Yeah. I'm
Them's fight
surprised
words.
I'm surprised too. You
Well,
can
who
probably
is?
guess who it is, but
Doug.
Doug.
I love Doug.
Doug is adorable.
I love Doug. Squirrel.
As soon as I finished the movie, I watched the short Doug special mission, because I just wanted more Doug.
Well, okay, I started it, but it was 2 a.m. and then I fell asleep, so I gotta go do that.
You need to finish it. It ends on a very heartwarming note.
I love Doug. Okay, I might go back on the thing, but he's my favorite.
Well, he is
I always
pretty
change
great.
my mind. But yeah,
Daniel, who's your
we can
favorite
talk
Pixar
about
character?
That is a great question. Um, you know what? I'll talk about her when we get to her.
her. Ooh.
Her. Okay.
Yeah.
Mine is probably really basic.
Woody.
Woody or Buzz? It changes.
Ew. You like Buzz more than Woody? What the heck, Jaren?
It changes. It's like, yeah.
I'm so judgmental tonight.
It depends on whether he feels like cowboying or space boying.
I mean, to be fair, it's either one of those all the time.
Well, then Andy should be your character because he goes back and forth between the two, too.
That actually makes a lot of sense.
But Woody's his all-time favorite because Woody's better. And Tom Hanks voices him, and it's Tom Hanks.
Absolutely.
Sharon is Andy confirmed.
Yep. I love that.
So
Up. Oh,
yeah, let's do the quick little plot recap first.
Yeah. Who went last time? Nora went last time.
Oh, that was a disaster.
I thought I was listening to it again, and I was like, "This is great."
I'm pretty sure you did Ratatouille, Jaren, so I think it's my turn.
Yeah.
All right, so Up is the story of Karl Fredrickson. When he was a young boy, he met a young girl named Ellie in an abandoned home, and they started out as friends, but we jump forward a little bit. They get married, and they have a whole life together. It's really sweet and adorable. Unfortunately, Ellie passes on before Karl, and now the 78-year-old man is living his life in their home as a new city is being built around him, and due to unfortunate circumstances, he is kicked out of his home. But before that can happen, he ties a whole bunch of balloons to him and flies away because he wants to go to Paradise Falls, a place he always promised he'd bring Ellie. And
That's so sad.
tagging along is wilderness explorer Russell, whose snipe hunting got him stuck on the floating house.
Please
The
let me in.
The two of them travel to South America, where they meet up with Kevin, the snipe, and she is quite wonderful. And they also meet Doug, the talking dog.
The best character ever.
Best character ever. For now.
No.
So, they're dragging the house along to Paradise Falls before it runs out of helium and all its balloons, when they are captured by a team of other dogs who are from Doug's pack, and they bring them to Charles Muntz, a really old man who was an explorer Karl's always looked up to. Turns out Muntz is trying to clear his name by finding proof of the snipe's existence. And in doing so, he puts off some real creeper vibes.
There's just something about Pixar movies where the really nice, seeming fatherly figure who turns out to be a villain.
Yeah, but he doesn't get the father thing for long.
Oh no, it's lightning quick.
Straight to the point.
That was his mistake.
That was his mistake. So he tries to capture them again as they're escaping, but they do escape, and they almost bring Kevin back to her babies. But Muntz almost burns the house, and that distracts Karl enough to lose Kevin again. So Russell and Karl have a bit of a falling out. Russell tries to go save Kevin, and Karl follows after. And we get a massive airship battle on a Zeppelin, which is amazing.
That's cool. I like that.
Yep.
I already knew it was going to happen because I've seen it so much, but it still stressed me out.
Yeah.
Big Star Wars vibes during that. The big, Death Star vibes.
Sure. They
okay.
Crawling
Because
around on the outside of the Death Star, but okay.
I mean, the dog fighting. Literal dog fighing.
Daniel disagreed with you, Jared.
What I'm saying is the original Star Wars spaceship fights were based entirely off of World War II footage of biplanes.
Fair enough.
Fun and fresh.
And fresh.
They kick Muntz off his Zeppelin. Karl loses his house, but it's okay because they get Kevin back to her babies. And then they go to the Wilderness Explorer badge ceremony where Karl gives
Oh.
Russell the Ellie badge,
Uh,
which we'll talk about that moment later. But I do want to talk about it quite a bit. Um,
I'm
and
gonna
then the two of them
cry.
get ice cream and count the red and blue cars that pass by.
Okay. All right.
Uh,
So should we talk about our like personal connections to the movie?
yes, I think so. Nora, since it's your favorite, and I just talked for a bit, you want to go first?
Sure. Now let me also explain. I'm probably going to go back on my favorite like 20 times, and I also think we should definitely 110% do the ranking films, because that is only when my opinion will be solid, because it's
When
still
we're
between this
finished?
Ratatouille. Yeah, like when we're finished. This Ratatouille and Incredibles for me, like just saying. But right now it's between Ratatouille and Up. But anyway, um, I like this movie a lot because, well, Ratatouille and Up are like the main Pixar movies I really got into as a kid. I think they were more my age demographic as well. Like some of the earlier ones, I don't like as much, because like Wall-E, like we said, I was in that age demographic that didn't quite get it because I was so young.
Okay.
Yeah, and I love this movie partially because the comedic timing is so good,
Oh, it's good.
but
Mhm.
there's characters that are relatable. Even like Russell feeling like his family's disconnected, and you see Carl is like a real person. It's not like the
Yeah.
over personified, sometimes cartoony characters. Although Pixar's pretty good about having realistic characters. They've always been good about that.
Oh,
Just in
yeah.
other franchises. Carl, like really, like he was a happy he loves his wife so much. And Doug is just the best character I've ever seen in my life. He's so pure and so energetic and so
It's because
happy.
he's a good boy.
He is
He's
a
a
good
good boy.
I guess Doug is sort of like what us optimists want to be our best selves of, but like super
You do
personified.
kind of remind me of Doug.
See, like I want to make I guess me, like everyone feel the way Doug makes you feel, but maybe not that extra, because that'd be kind of freaky in real life, if you know what I'm saying. But watching it as a film is fabulous, and
Yeah.
he's so sweet, but he's never mean to anyone. He always takes it, and which is like sad in a way. Like most people would say, well, he needs to stand up for himself, but no, because he's so pure and sweet and wonderful.
Yeah, the only time he's even remotely like stern is when he becomes the new alpha.
Yes, but even then, like he's like a good leader. I
Yeah.
guess I don't want to say. I feel like it's wrong to say like I relate to Doug, because I mean obviously I'm, but I mean I want, like I guess I want to, because I don't know. I hate confrontation, and
Same.
it's the Hufflepuff in me, and
Yeah.
I hate I don't like making people feel down. So Doug is like Doug's like the 5-year-old me on happy steroids.
Okay.
All right.
Oh,
So,
it's really colorful and the animation's beautiful. Next.
oh yeah, the
Well,
shot where like the balloons are flying up and you see it through that one kid's room,
yeah.
and just all the colors pass by. So good.
My
Oh,
personal
and oh yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
my connection to this movie. This came out when I was like turning 13, I think. And I saw it at the drive-in theater we have here in our town. The town whose name I will not reveal, unlike last week when we had to cut that out of the episode. My bad. I'm sorry.
It feels terrible once you've done it, doesn't it?
I know. I was listening over to the podcast from last week and I was like, crap, I did that.
I hated myself after I did that. That was horrible.
Don't worry, I'll do
Oh,
it one of these days.
yeah.
And we'll
No,
all be.
we were at the Chinese place on your birthday. I was like, don't feel bad.
I felt so bad.
Anyway, our town has a drive-in movie theater, and it's really cool, and I love it. I actually got to see my film on the screen. But anyway,
Aw.
yeah, so I saw Up at the drive-in. I was turning 13. And that opening... Okay, so obviously I've loved Pixar since I was like a little child. as you said, I'm basically Andy. So I saw it there, and I knew it was gonna be good. I was looking forward to it because obviously it's a new Pixar movie. But right out of the gate, I was not expecting that punch.
It's so good.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, this is cute. I like this. And then, and yeah, it was emotional for a 12 going on 13-year-old boy. Probably not the age, where you'd want to admit getting emotional at an animated film, but I wasn't like the other kids of my age.
I'm not like other kids. I cry at Pixar.
Shut up.
He's not like other guys.
I mean, I guess that does kind of. I sometimes have a hard time fitting in with people, but Anyway.
No, I'm just messing with you, Jaren. I got what you're saying.
I know.
Really sweet, though. Way to be open.
I try to be. I think that's kind of important.
It is. It is
Anyway,
very good that you do that. Anyway, continue.
The movie was great, and I loved it then. I think the next time I watched it was several months later when it came out on like DVD and Blu-ray. I was watching it with my grandparents because they wanted to see it, and my grandfather, Pops as we call him, his favorite movie of all time is The Lion King.
Ooh, that's a good movie.
Yeah, that's like literally
Which Lion King?
The only Lion King.
Okay, good. We're first one's favorite Lion King.
Yeah.
What is happening on this audio?
I don't know. Anyway,
okay.
My grandfather, Pops, he loves Lion King. It's his favorite movie. I remember before watching Up, a few months before we showed him WALL-E, and he loved that as well. Particularly when I was talking last week about like the biblical symbolism stuff, he was the one who was like pointing that out to me, and which is funny because Andrew Stanton intended to be there because he's a Christian, so I find that kind of interesting. But anyway, he loved Up as well. He was all into it, and Pops is just like the greatest guy ever. So like his taste in movies is probably impeccable.
Probably.
Yeah. But yeah, so seeing it that second time, I think made me love it even more. And I think over time, I was just like, Up is great. It's really good. But like the first 10 minutes is better than the whole movie itself.
No!
But I don't know. No. Wait. I think as time has gone on, I've learned to appreciate all of it because it has some incredible moments beyond that fantastic opening sequence scored immaculately by Michael Giacchino, which he won Best Score at the Academy Awards that year for. Not a small feat, because a score can make a movie. So yes, I love this film. I think it's fantastic.
It is so good. And on the note of the 10 to 15 minute montage in the beginning, I might argue it's the weakest part of the film, simply because so much of the rest of the movie uses that as its backbone that it can kind of stand on top of it and be better because of it.
All right, I'll give you that.
Both of you are wrong. The intro is amazing and iconic.
Oh no! I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying it's amazing too.
Yes, but where you're wrong is the rest of the movie is just as amazing because...
That's what I said.
No, because they work so well together. How dare you even suggest that any part of this film is lacking, Jaren? How dare you?
I was the one who suggested it was weak.
No, I said over time I've come to appreciate all of it.
I love me just saying 10 minutes ago that I didn't like to get angry at people and proceed to yell at Jaren.
Oh, man. So
we're all a bit emotional today because the show we've been talking about that we've been in ended today. That me and the Teen Titan were in.
Oh, I want to cry just thinking about it ending. It was so much fun. And then
it was fantastic.
I want to cry because I think about the opening sequence. It's just all sad.
Today's episode is sponsored by Kleenex.
I mean, I
Kleenex,
didn't
so
cry
you
about
can
either.
wipe
I just feel
away
sad in
all the
the
tears. Yeah. All right. So my personal experiences with Up. I saw it in theaters when it first came out. I was 12 years old at the time. And obviously I loved it because Pixar is really good, especially at this point in their timeline. I think, yeah, this is probably toward the end of what I would call the Pixar golden age, quote unquote.
Yeah, well, the run from Ratatouille to Toy Story 3 is their greatest run of all time.
Yeah, I was gonna say Toy Story 3 is pretty good.
Well,
I
Ratatouille,
didn't say this was
Wall-E.
the end of their golden age, okay?
Oh, gotcha.
Well, next
I'm
week
just
will
saying
be
this
the end
is
of it.
near the end.
Yeah, then you have Cars 2, and that's a catastrophe. But
Well, you
car
admit it
catastrophe.
now.
well, like when we get to Cars 2, I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, I liked it. It was funny. Like I really liked it. That's what I'm gonna say. So just ignore what I say now.
Lightning McQueen is my favorite. I love him.
Shut up, Sharon.
Doug who?
No.
Okay.
Spy Mater is my favorite. I love him. He is
do
great,
like Mater,
fun and
but
fresh.
Doug is better than Mater. Okay, don't you dare use fun and fresh against me. How
Okay.
dare you?
May I finish my thought?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay,
Sorry.
but thank you. So yeah, I honestly can't remember if I've seen the movie all the way through since then, in like the
Oh,
intervening 10 years. Like obviously
man,
I've
that came
seen
out
the
10 years
opening
ago.
montage quite a bit. I've seen the climax a couple of times, just like in their own separate pockets. But like all the way through, I think this is my first time seeing Up all the way through in about a decade.
Wow. Oh wow.
So I wasn't quite sure how I was going to feel about it coming at it again.
Yeah.
And I think it pretty much maintains the quality that it was at back in 2009. But now that I'm older and can notice things more, there's a few things I picked up in this time around that I'm like, oh shoot, this changes the way I look at this movie completely.
Interesting.
Me too, actually. I'll talk about that later.
Daniel,
Yeah.
spill the tea, sis.
Okay, so here's my hot take. Kevin is more a metaphor for Ellie than the house is.
Oh?
Wait, well, I gotta think about it.
So it's subtle, but they build up a connection between Ellie and Birds quite a bit. During the opening montage, she's working at the zoo with birds. When you're looking through the adventure book, she's got a couple photos with birds. And Kevin is a mother. That's the thing Ellie probably wanted more out of life than even adventuring.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my marbles.
And I mean, all the choices Karl makes in this movie are the choices between his house and Kevin, more or less. The choices between the Ellie that he remembers and who Ellie truly was, I would argue.
Daniel, you're so smart.
Hey, I only picked this up a couple days ago, okay, sister? Who we got?
She's my sister.
Oh, but Daniel, you're so smart. What the heck?
I mean, that's just a reading. I have no idea if it was intentional or not.
In the prologue, she has a little knickknack of a bird on the mantelpiece.
Yeah, I was just thinking that, like the thing that he catches, and yeah.
Yeah, like I said, just they do build that connection between Ellie and Birds. That's why I think
Oh, man.
it is. That,
changes
like I said,
everything.
I've never
I
heard
go
that
watch-
before, actually.
I haven't either. It was only something I just kind of picked up, and I'm like, oh, whoa, is that what they're doing?
Daniel, you're a genius.
That's pretty thin and woke.
Would I would like vote for you for president right now? I literally wouldn't care about any other political views you have. Like literally, you have my vote.
Yeah.
That's the smartest
2020.
thing ever.
Daniel 2020. Kelly equals Ellie.
Yes. Wow.
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 Oh, wow. We could end the podcast right now. Like, nothing's going to beat that.
Yeah, maybe I should have saved it.
Yeah.
But I mean, I kind of want to know, like, do you guys think that that could be it? Because, like, the film also really pushes the Ellie as the house idea.
Yeah, that's what I was
Well,
thinking more, but oh my gosh.
the house is more like a representation of like her memory.
Well, now I get that. I always thought, the house is obviously a representation of Ellie. Like, that's how it's designed. Until you literally just blew my freaking mind.
Like,
Hey, wait a minute. Wasn't there on the wall of like the baby's room? Wasn't there was there a stork?
Yeah, they painted birds there.
Okay.
Well, I don't know if that can. Well, maybe, I don't know, but but now the house is what he used to think of Ellie, and Kevin is him in the new life. And oh my gosh, he lets Kevin go at the end.
Oh.
Oh my gosh.
Just like he lets the house go. Like,
see, because like I think the house is supposed to be the blame, Ellie, because he lets the house go. But what? I totally believe your theory. You have me convinced.
It's a heck of a lot better than the Pixar theory.
Thank you.
I need to go look this up.
You don't.
No, you don't.
I don't.
It's good for a laugh, but
there are better things to do with your time.
Watch me come back and be like, y'all, the Pixar theory is so right. Y'all be like, okay, it's time for you to leave the podcast. Thank you for your time.
How could we let go of number 3?
The Pixar theory. With the Pixar theory, you can't.
Come on, Nora, you're our Doug.
Oh my gosh, that's the sweetest thing anyone's ever said to me.
I guess I do. I actually am a little bit like Karl Fredrickson.
And I'm Russell.
You kind of are.
Wait. Were you like you? Did we hear that voice crack? That was gross. Were you like Russell as a kid?
Not really. No.
I was gonna say I feel like you were either just like him or very opposite.
I mean, I had his enthusiasm about certain things, but I was, I don't think I could really compare myself to Russell.
I was way too like ambitious as a child. Always starting something and never really finishing it.
I am obviously alpha.
Uno, dos, gal.
Please, let's find this bird. Where is Doug?
Where is Doug?
That is okay. There are very simple things that can be exceedingly humorous. An imposing German Shepherd Doberman, I'm not quite sure, dog with a squeaky voice like that is somehow the funniest thing.
So funny.
It really is good.
Y'all, I think one of the reasons I love this movie so much is the comedic timing.
Yeah.
I really picked up on it this time because as a kid I just thought it was funny, but I realized how good it is. It's all very fast. The comedic is very fast. Like even when one of my favorite scenes is Karl's scene after the whole montage, and it's the
yes.
And you see him going throughout his day, which also is very depressing watching it.
It is.
You do, but it's also hilarious. Like I laughed so hard as a kid.
You ever notice? You ever notice that during the montage we see Ellie straightening his tie?
Yeah.
And now he wears a bow tie.
Well, yeah, and then he wipes the window and her face isn't there, and he literally stares at it. So.
Well, yeah, he changes to a bow tie because it's not a necktie that she can straighten.
Oh yeah.
I mean, she was doing bow ties for him as well in that montage.
Might
I
be true.
just assumed it was a clip-on.
Yeah. Bow ties are cool, by the way. I like bow ties.
They are.
Bow ties are neat.
Anyway, like the fasting time, like when he stretches and he stands and then wham, the walker comes out. Like that's so funny. Like it's like I don't know why. Like it's just so funny to me. Like,
Pete
'cause it's
Docter's
so fast,
movies.
because you're expecting him to like bounce up and stretch, and he's like Walker. And then even in their slow comedies, like where he's coming down the stairs, he stops super fast, and then he goes back down. The whole greeting scene with Russell is very back to back. Shuts door fast, slams, and when he like is imagining dropping Russell into the city, it goes,
Yeah.
well, that would
That
work.
moment was
You're like,
perfect.
okay.
I love
So,
what do
I
you
didn't
call
have
those?
I didn't have such a clear memory of that, so I was like, "Oh, is he actually trying to do this?"
Me
And when
too.
Russell
That
fell,
happened
I
to
was
me
like, "Oh,
too. I thought he dropped him. Like, I don't know why I didn't. I was like, what the? And like, yeah. And he's like, that wouldn't work. And I was like, oh, okay.
like it was so sudden, and it wasn't presented as like his imagination." So
Yeah.
And even when Russell is sliding across the hot air balloon, and then he whips away really fast, because if it does slow comedic, its ending is always so sharp, and it's brilliant. And I keep snapping. I don't know if you hear my snaps to describe the fastness.
Yeah, I could tell. Pete Docter movies have really good screenplays.
yeah, I think he's probably like Andrew Stanton's films are also very funny, but I think Pete Docter's humor just clicks with me a bit more.
Yeah.
Because not
Monsters,
every
Inc.
joke in Wall-E landed, and there were fewer jokes in Up, but I think they all landed for me.
Yeah.
So
Y'all.
Yeah.
Y'all, I was so proud of myself because I remembered how y'all were talking about in Wall-E that Pixar makes very specific references.
Yeah.
And I noticed the dogs playing poker painting reference.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
I was like, look at me go.
I
know
love
they're
those
talking
paintings.
about.
Yeah, that was fun when that popped up.
Yeah, but I saw it and I went, oh my gosh, I always knew that looked familiar. And that's the reference they're talking about. I get
So
it
there's
now.
something very specific I should mention about this movie. It is the second animated film to ever be nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Awards.
That is
The
correct.
first one was Beauty and the Beast.
Yep, it was.
Yep. And it did that back when there was no animation category at all.
Yeah.
And it won.
I think
Not Up, but
Beauty and the Beast didn't win.
Beauty and the Beast won, I thought.
It
No.
did not.
What?
But even it being
Who
nominated
told
is still.
this?
Yeah, no animated movie has ever won Best Picture. No
However-
foreign language film has ever won, because the artist doesn't count, and no documentary has ever won.
I've been lied to.
The only genre movie to ever win Best Picture was Lord of the Rings: Return of the King.
There are more genre movies that have won Best Picture. Both Godfathers count as genre movies. Shape of Water counts as a genre movie.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway, the three animated films to be nominated for Best Picture, I think, are the only three, aside from Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse,
There it is.
that were worthy to be nominated. Actually, I might say later on when we get to Coco that it could have been nominated.
So, I don't know if I fully agree with that assessment, simply because, like, I feel Ratatouille could have been nominated.
Oh,
Heck
yeah. Oh, okay,
yes.
so actually,
I feel-
the reason why Up got nominated, I think it was in response to a lot of people saying Ratatouille and Wall-E both should have been nominated for Best Picture.
That is possible.
Because
the
directly...
Oscars very much overcompensate. Like, if they don't give a specific actor an award in a year that they really should have won it, they'll just do it later. Like, when Leonardo DiCaprio finally got his Oscar, he got it for The Revenant.
Yeah.
Do
you think that should have been the one that he got nominated for?
Like, the dude
One.
Like, he should have gotten it for Wolf of Wall Street. He probably should have gotten it for the
Well, you know why
Aviator,
he didn't get
honestly.
it, right?
Well, because the Oscars are BS.
Well, no, it's because he didn't get it for Titanic, and he spoke truthfully and said, I should have won. They got PO'd at him, and then they, like, punished him by not giving him the award.
Well, then how do you explain Roger Deakins?
Well, I don't know. Not everyone's the same.
The Oscars are a bunch of old white men, and honestly, I don't care that much about the Oscars, but...
I like the Oscars.
I care simply because winning an Oscar opens a lot of doors for you in Hollywood.
It does.
And, like, when Guillermo del Toro won Best Director and Best Picture for Shape of Water, like, he got to launch so many dream projects at once. And
I think it legitimized him in so many people's eyes. Not ours, because we already legitimized him a long time ago, because he's Guillermo freaking del Toro. But yeah.
Anyway,
yeah.
we're a bit off topic. But yeah, Up was
Sorry,
nominated.
if I'm sniffing, I'm still kind of sick.
That's okay.
Yeah, after the show, I feel pretty sick right now, but that's okay because the show's over. So
It is.
That usually is what happened to me because I'll put all my energy like in like a show or something. I usually get sick the week after, which is fine. I mean, it's over.
Yeah. No, I don't say that.
No, I don't mean that bad. Like literally, like it's fine. I can just go nap some. Well,
No,
I haven't napped this week, but after that,
I'm saying I'm sad that's over.
yeah, I am sad it's over. Oh, okay. Talk about Up.
Yeah. Let's be sad for other reasons.
Yeah.
What
Pretty sad for Ellie.
was the saddest moment for you guys?
The whole thing.
My favorite moment in the entire movie was Karl sitting in the house.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah. That whole sequence.
It's so
He finds the adventure book and he finally looks past the stuff I'm going to do file and he sees their life together.
Yeah. And he finally moves on.
That really touched me watching it this time. I was like, that's amazing. Really,
And
when
again, like that moment wouldn't have hit so hard without the montage in the beginning. That's why I say the whole movie is kind of propped up by that.
Yeah.
Well, it's that whole scene there is kind of cathartic because it's funny. We're talking about being sad about the show we were in ending. I don't like endings. I have a hard time letting go sometimes, and the whole point of this movie and the next movie we're going to talk about too, a lot of it is about letting go and moving on.
The next movie, as a child, I cried.
Oh, you've told us your story about it.
Oh yeah, I haven't told the podcast, but it made me
Next
very
week.
sad.
Yeah, save it for next week.
Yeah.
But yes, both of those movies are they're tied pretty closely together in terms of like themes. Anyway, moving on, getting over something while remembering it and holding it close to your heart. That's one of the most real lessons this animated movie about a flying house and talking dogs can teach you.
Very much so. For me, the most emotional point was still the badge ceremony.
Okay, yeah, true.
That's always been my favorite part of this movie, and that hasn't changed yet. But
That's like the happiest part for me.
yeah, I'm just saying I get emotional.
Yes, I agree. It is.
I tear up when he calls it the Ellie badge. Okay.
Yeah.
Like
It also kind of solidifies the idea that a number of Pixar's movies are about father figures or fathers in general.
Yeah. Unlike Disney, where they kill off all the moms.
Well, I think off the top of my head, the only Pixar movies so far that haven't really followed that theme: A Bug's Life,
Oh my god.
WALL-E,
Ratatouille. Well, Ratatouille has a dad.
Ratatouille had plenty of father stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, his dad was Gusteau.
Yeah, I think those are the only two.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, Toy Story, you could argue Woody is very representative of, like, Andy's father.
No.
Really? We'll discuss that next week, because there's a lot of that in 3.
Well, maybe. I'll have to watch it again.
Sully is, very much like a father figure. Boo, Marlin, and Bob Parr are literally fathers. There's nothing like that in Cars, unless you count Doc.
No,
Kind
Doc.
of Doc.
I think Doc's his father figure, definitely.
Yeah.
I think it's fair to call him a father figure. Anyway. Back to Up. I mean, the father dynamic is definitely between Karl and Russell.
Yeah.
Especially with Russell having an absentee father himself.
Yeah, watching Russell do that, because really, it's been a while since I've like you said, Daniel, like fully watching all these movies, like sitting down and watching all of them. You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
like with all of them coming back to them is like I realized more things, and especially the last time I see it, I think I kind of went over those scenes a little bit with Russell a little
The
bit where
scene
he was
with the
explaining his dad.
campfire and when Russell says, Carl's like, "You call your mother Phyllis?" That was
Yeah.
like,
This isn't my mom.
yeah,
I get a real feeling from Russell that he doesn't quite understand.
He
Like,
doesn't.
see
That's
so
what's
much of
so
his
hard.
family dynamic.
yeah. I think a lot of kids going through something like that don't.
Like
I mean, I
he can
never.
he can articulate that this person Phyllis isn't my mom, but I don't think he fully understands that she's basically his stepmom from what it
Yeah,
sounds like.
I mean, I really appreciated what they did with Russell.
yeah,
That's the way they did it was very delicate, and it wasn't in as in your face, if you know what I'm saying, but at the same time it was very clear.
yeah.
Yeah,
It
like
wasn't like a lot of movies where it's like, haha, divorce is funny, haha.
No, it was, and the thing that's heartbreaking is he clearly did have a relationship with his father.
Yeah,
And what really got me like is how him and his father grown apart, and just from separation, just traveling, and that it was really beautiful and very
I almost
sad.
kind of wonder how someone who's kind of been through something like that would relate to that part of the movie.
yeah, because I don't think any of us can really speak from a point of understanding.
No, my parents are together, and I have a very good relationship with both of them.
Well, I mean, I have a good relationship with my parents, but my dad is gone quite often. So I mean, I get what he's saying. I mean, like obviously my parents aren't divorced or anything, but watching some of that perspective, I understood what he was coming from, and it was very accurate on that point. Missing being able to do things that you used to do that you can't quite do anymore.
Yeah,
But yeah, but I mean, no, I'm still like I have a good family dynamic. My parents aren't divorced. I don't have a stepmother like Russell does, but not understanding like the traveling and like being gone, and
yeah.
I understand being confused about the situation
Well, I'll
especially.
tell you this: being a kid is hard.
Yeah, I've been quite confused about like what's happening quite often. So when hearing Russell not fully understanding but still trying to be happy about it, and like, well, not maybe even happy, just more optimistic. Like he says it was quite touching.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
it doesn't seem like Phyllis is a bad person or anything. She showed up to the badge ceremony.
Yeah,
Yeah. No. I mean, like, yeah. See, like, I
but
can't get it from that level because,
when he talks about missing going to get ice cream with his dad, it's like I said, it's so weird that an animated movie about a flying house and talking dogs can feel so real and grounded, despite the movie being called Up. It's it just really speaks to what Pixar does when they're at their best, when they're not making Cars 2 or
yeah.
Finding Dory. Not Finding Dory. I kind of like that one.
I think that's why I like it so much
I
because
mean,
it's so real.
I think they kind of
the characters keep it grounded.
yeah.
Yeah.
The notion of just because
Literally,
it's
they
for
keep the house tethered to the ground.
No,
Haha.
that I mean, flying in balloons isn't real, but the like character development is.
it really speaks to the idea that kids are not dumb.
Yeah.
They're and just because it's something that's supposed to be for kids doesn't mean you have to dumb it down and make it all about fart jokes and pop culture references and pop songs. That it can be something tender and emotional and realistic.
And it can still
Because
have silly jokes.
it can totally.
Like
But
Kevin eating the balloon was
yeah,
hilarious.
yeah, and there's nothing
And the
wrong with
old
that
man
at all.
and the
It's
old man
great.
between Karl and Muntz
Yeah.
was amazing.
But what I'm saying is that's the beauty of storytelling right there. because you get drawn into it, and especially the moment where Karl's alone in the house and he finds his closure and he moves on. It's beautiful. This is a beautiful way of telling a story, and I couldn't applaud it more for it.
Yeah. I'm not going to claim this one's subtle, though. Like,
oh, no. But
when he moves on, he literally takes out everything that's weighing him down.
Yeah.
Like
What?
Ellie is constantly hanging over his head, and the house is literally hanging over his head. Like, there's a lot of stuff like that.
Yeah, it's a great representation for grief, depression. It's good. I don't even know what else to say about it. I really like that aspect of it, because you never know who's watching your movie. You never know what that person's been through and how they can connect to what they see on screen.
Yeah.
Well, there are a few things more we definitely can talk about. I want to talk about Doug's arc first.
Yeah.
No,
are you excited?
Huh?
Are you excited to talk about Doug?
Oh, I'm sorry. I started zoning out about how people relate to movies, and I was thinking about the character arcs. We said Doug?
Yes, we did.
I wanted to talk about...
Oh, yes, we can talk about Doug.
They very much literalize his arc with the cone of shame, because after he accidentally betrays the group is when he's most ashamed of himself, and that's when he gets the cone of shame. But when he betrays his pack and helps them out, like, that's when Alpha throws him over and he loses the cone of shame. He's literally no longer ashamed. Like, again, the movie's not super subtle, but
does it even have to be sometimes?
No, I don't think so. And I mean, I've never seen anybody talk about the whole Ellie-Kevin connection, so I think there's still plenty of subtlety in the movie.
Okay, well, here's the thing. Here's from my point of view. I'm going to admit it. I'm not very smart.
Yes, you are. Oh, my goodness.
No, what I'm saying is I'm not, like, very psychological and stuff, or really, like, analytical. But what I do feel is my heart.
Mm-hmm.
I focus more on the heart than the mind sometimes. And it's more based on my connections to other people and how I see the world, rather than how I can interpret it, or, oh man, this is just solidifying that I am a Hufflepuff.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And that's how I interpret art, too.
I mean, that's a very good approach to that
you.
kind of stuff.
I feel you.
I've been told I'm an empath.
Oh, yes. I could definitely see that for you.
So I
like
feel...
Mantis.
Maybe there's a reason why Mantis is my favorite Guardian.
Y'all.
Anyway. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, you were like in the middle of a big thought. You can continue.
Anyway, it's all about the heart. And it's all about how I feel things in my heart.
Aww.
Which is why I've been kind of, like, more, like you said earlier, open.
Mm-hmm.
Because it really helps instead of just keeping stuff inside. Anyway, I don't even know where that came from, but...
No, that was good. I've gotten to the point where I understand the language of film a little bit, and now I'm almost obsessed with, like, breaking down the mechanics of any film I see, because a good film doesn't just, like, have callbacks and call forwards, but the themes fold together neatly. And one thing that I never understood about Up was, like, the need for a Kevin character outside of plot mechanics. And now that when I finally, like, piece together, oh, Kevin is like a representation of Ellie, that makes that whole part of the film so much more important. Like, before I might have argued that you could cut the Kevin stuff and still have the film kind of be the same. You just need to, like, change some plot stuff. But no, I think Kevin is kind of invaluable, and I don't think I would think that unless I understood how to break these things apart so well. But it can get to a point where I'm thinking about a movie too much and I'm not just watching it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I'm thinking about it. If Kevin weren't to be the thing of Ellie, which this way I was probably thinking of it, he's really more of a representation of Karl being able to put something that matters now before Ellie, which Ellie obviously would want Karl to do, and is the literal representation of him being able to let go, to put someone before his grief. Because
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's really what maybe I'm reading more as, and maybe more of a psychological. Sorry, I keep referring to Kevin as like a he, maybe, but Kevin
The name
could,
throws it off.
yeah, I've always, yeah, Kevin could be like the new form of Ellie, but I never got Ellie from Kevin because Kevin is very aggressive. If you
Yeah,
know
I
what
mean,
I'm saying, but
I'm just
also,
saying they're thematically linked. I'm not saying like
yes.
Kevin is reincarnated Ellie or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now that I'm thinking about it, I think it's possible that it's the new Ellie, but really I'm thinking it's more he is the literal representation of Karl being able to get over his grief and move towards the new life. And I like the idea of Ellie as the house because he literally gives up Kevin, which could be part of the new Ellie, and Russell, like the people that he's with, for this figure imagination in his mind, materialistic of his house, because he's so desperate to hold on to Ellie that that's all he has left, that he throws away all the people that are in his life now for that one materialistic value that he has.
Yeah, and I think that still works with the Kevin as Ellie idea because the
Yeah.
thing Ellie would want him to do would be to help Kevin in that moment and not worry about the house. But
I agree.
Karl
I'm just saying,
can't see
yeah.
it for the truth yet.
Yeah. Sometimes stuff is just stuff.
Yeah. Like I was saying, like if that wasn't intended, I think it's still the same idea as what you're saying. Just maybe do you get what?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Hey, tongue
I
tied.
get you, Nora.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Really, I'm sitting back thinking about this movie, thinking about all we said, and it's really making me kind of emotional, guys. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna cry or anything, but I think I really relate to this movie a lot more than I thought. Just like with the character arcs and everything, especially maybe with Doug. That's why I like him so much. Just because I want to not seem like I think I'm a generally optimistic person, but I
You
want
are.
to make others happy and, help them out and do for them and not fire back at them. Because Doug could fire back and say, you've all been terrible to me and blah 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 blah, but he even gets put in the cone of shame and you feel so terrible for him, but yet he's loyal. And I guess he's like what I guess strive to be in a way, but sometimes I feel, because sometimes I don't like standing up for myself or doing those things, I could personally be caught in the cone of shame or something of that nature in a very metaphorical sense. And I get some, as I said before, definitely not to his extent, but some of the struggles like Russell goes through is very real life, like very realistic. And I really appreciate that Pixar touched on that topic the way that they did. And sitting back and thinking on it, and how you form relationships with these people, your family, your biological family does not, I feel like is this movie saying, have to be your family. You can make your own family through grief and tribulation and coming together. You really can. And I think that's really beautiful. It's really sweet. And I feel like I've got mushy gushy emotional, but I really appreciate this movie.
Yeah. Hey, kid.
Yeah.
You've become my family too.
Oh,
sweet.
It's been fun.
My baby dog is walking in. My bear. That's my dog's name. Hello, Bear. He's so cute. Sorry,
you're gonna
I
have to send us
my dog.
pictures of Bear now.
Yeah.
Actually, my oh wait, no, that's on GroupMe. I was gonna say my profile pictures of with me holding my dog. I might need to relocate. Bear is all up in here and a very loud little critter. But I'll send you pictures of my darling precious baby. I mean,
Thank
he's
you.
like 12, but he's still my puppy.
Oh, my dog was like 14, and she was still my baby.
Yeah, he's my baby. He's following me. I can hear him. No, you can't do this, Bear. He eats
Doug's
his
a precious
butthole,
little
so he's
baby
really
too.
loud. I know that's gross, but he does, so I can't really be near him during the podcast.
Aw.
Anyway, that was an emotional moment.
Oh, well, I didn't mean to be.
No,
like,
no, no.
I just,
It was
yeah.
good. No, it was good.
I don't want to make people blah, but like, blah. But no, I just meant I really appreciate Pixar for doing
That's what I'm
that.
saying.
I'm fine, guys. Like,
I know.
know.
That's what I'm saying about connections and people and the friends and family along the way.
Because I was going to say, I really could still rate Ratatouille or this because I did a few notes just watching Up. And of course, I did Ratatouille too. And I wasn't sure. But then I was like sitting here listening to y'all and I was like, wow, this is a really. Oh. And so, yeah, I feel most wise I see the more appealing characteristics of these characters probably the most.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
which is what.
So now it's in my number one spot, which will probably change next week. Who knows?
Yeah. But what you're saying made me have that reaction, and
I've talked too much.
I'm glad I'm friends with you guys.
I'm glad I'm friends with you guys
So
too.
mushy, gushy, and beautiful. I love you, Jared and Daniel.
Thank you, Up, for giving us this moment.
Thanks, Up.
Yeah.
So, one other big thing I do want us to talk about is Charles Muntz himself.
Absolutely. Pretty dang good villain.
I would say so. He's a really good foil for Karl because
Yeah.
both of them are obsessed with the past, and Charles had literally let it destroy him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And
It's not just
he
a
represents
cautionary.
a lot of what Karl needs to grow beyond.
Yeah. It's not just a case of don't meet your heroes.
Though it is also.
It is totally. I mean, that was what I said. It's
I was
not
warning
just.
us about John Lasseter.
Actually,
yeah, that was hard news.
Yeah. Wait, was that the pervert one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so disappointing.
But he had barely anything to do with this movie either, so.
Yay! No perverts were involved in the making of this film.
We have.
They should just put that on like most movies these days. They should have a warning, like a pervert warning,
Oh gosh.
a Me Too warning.
Oh. I makes me mad that there was a pervert making a children's film. I don't want to talk about it.
Hey, most of the time he was like taking other people's credit, so.
That's disgusting. That's talk.
When we get to Coco,
Growing
we're
up
gonna.
with that man.
Yeah. At least Muntz did everything himself with his dog army.
Yeah.
Okay.
Although he also probably killed a lot of people. People who were probably not even looking for the snipe.
Yeah, just innocent people.
Paranoid.
I mean, he did try to kill a child.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He
was.
did,
It was pretty comfortable letting Russell fall to his death.
Yep.
Controversial opinion. Not him, because that part of the movie was probably my only issue area, because let me point out 3 things. 1, we see Karl as a wee child, and then this man in this video is at least like 30, 25, something like that. And then in the fight scene, they're like the same age. This man, Karl, should have so much more of an advantage, but they look the same age, and I realized that this time, and I had an issue.
That is something I've seen discussed before.
So, Karl is 78. That is confirmed.
Okay,
So
that's like the canon.
Like 100.
Well, we don't know how old Muntz was. It presumably all that flashback stuff happens in the 30s, I think, or maybe the 40s.
Yeah, it was
Karl looked like he was
World War II.
Karl looked like he was about 8 then, so it's probably been 70 years. So Muntz could be in his early 90s at the youngest.
Yes, yes.
That checks out, I guess.
No, they should look very different. 90s is very different from Yeah, no.
That is fair, Nora.
There are
but I
pretty
point out,
athletic and spry people in their 90s who
like,
Okay,
exercise
that's
and have a
true.
good diet.
I
That's
do
true.
just
My
want to
great
point
grandma
out.
still walks around smoking. You have a point.
So I do want to point out also it may just be a case of Pixar's aged skin technology not quite being there yet.
Yeah.
Because when we get to Coco, like they can make old people look different.
Yeah, almost like I've heard some people, in the case of Coco you're talking about, I've heard some people say it almost borders on Uncanny Valley. I
Yeah,
didn't think it did, but
like comparing like Miguel's grandma to his great grandma,
yeah,
Yeah.
oh,
like
absolutely.
they're both old women and they both look so different. And I
Yeah,
feel
like
maybe if
60s compared to 90s.
yeah, maybe if had like a few more years before it came out and like their technology had advanced a little, they might have been able to sell Muntz as being a lot older than Karl.
Well, regardless, he's probably
Yeah.
a spry, athletic older man, like
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
like some people
he's been
are.
living in the wilds for decades, so
True. Right.
I'm not
Probably
complaining too
eating
much.
tropical fruits and
Yeah. Anyway, okay, so that was my first issue. But and then my only other issue is that okay, I probably will go back on my word on this, but sometimes I felt like that whole area with him was rushed because it happens very fast where it just escalates very quickly and I think the movie's pacing is very quick. I just wish it slowed down a little bit because I really I'm not explaining it well because it goes so quickly from you're my friend and the bird and then it's bird you have the bird which I get because that's his character thing
Yeah.
and you get it
Uh,
because he's had people do it to him before but I wanted Karl to explain that they're not there for the bird but I know that wouldn't work out. I don't know. I know it doesn't make sense. Give me
uh,
a minute. Once you reply, I'll think of a better explanation.
so I also feel like that scene was a little fast. It does come across as like Muntz is doing feigned politeness there. So
Yeah.
I never, I believe that he always like viewed Karl and Russell suspiciously, but that he was just kind of putting on airs there. But I do agree it does go from, hey, wow, this is my childhood hero to, oh, crap, he's going to kill us very
yeah.
quickly.
Yeah.
It's
Maybe
And
they didn't want to do the whole like
twist villain.
yeah.
well, it
Maybe,
kind of was a twist. I would have rather them because
well,
I
I
don't
mean,
get suspicious vibes at all when they first meet him. He seems nothing but friendly. I wish maybe they had
outside
added
of
more
the
suspicion.
outside of the
Oh no,
dog
I knew he was
fight,
going to be the villain when I saw it based on like Prospector and Water Noose.
like he has an army of dogs who are all pretty vicious outside of Doug.
Yeah.
Like there were bad guy flags, Nora.
I do kind of like
Okay,
the dogs get
but
redeemed at the end.
yeah, but
That's nice.
I wish there was more of a build up to the evilness because you're with him for like 2 minutes before he becomes evil.
Yeah, I do feel like Up could have benefited from a few more minutes runtime,
Yeah,
and I think Pete Docter either consciously or unconsciously wants to keep his screenplays at 90 minutes because so
yeah.
far Monsters Inc., Up, and Inside Out are all in that range, and I'm pretty sure
We'll
Soul
see
is
if
gonna.
Soul bucks the trend.
Let me
Yeah.
see if the runtime for Soul is already out.
I don't think so. That doesn't come out for months.
But see, the thing is, even though I think it's fast paced, I'm okay with it because the rest of the movie is fast paced, so it follows the movie's format, which
Yeah.
I like. I like. What's the word? Not continuancy, but
Consistency?
consistency. Thank you. I really blanked there. That was sad. I like consistency throughout films, and it still obviously worked. But also, I felt bad for him. Another controversial opinion because he wants the bird so bad, and I know he hurts Kevin, but he doesn't say he wants to kill him. And I know they'll do terrible things to Kevin. You don't want him to get Kevin, but at the same time, it was literally his job to explore these animals, even though he killed all of them. But like other than that,
Well,
and he just wants it so bad, and he's been degraded by everyone, and he's basically driven himself to madness, which would have been cool if they played more into his madness. I would have loved that because the man is crazy. He's been living by himself with talking dogs. Like he has to be crazy by now.
Oh,
Yeah.
At
That would have
least
been
with
so cool if they
Muntz,
tipped into that a little bit more.
His Zeppelin is pretty dope, though.
It
yeah.
is. He's like borderline evil inventor scientist if you think about it, and I kind of wish they dipped into that maybe a little bit more. I
Yeah.
just sort of wanted more from that character, if you know what I'm
He's
saying.
shown to be, like, brilliant.
Yeah, I wish.
Yeah. And
but still like one of my favorites. So
You could have
obviously-
problems with your favorite movie.
Yeah, but that's the one area I do have problems with. I wish they did more with him. Also, I'm gonna get hated because I can't remember the actor's name. But you know the actor that's super duper famous and is in everything. He's in Legally Blonde and he's like the professor that turns out to be a pervert. Do you know what I'm talking about? I'm gonna have to
No.
look him up. He looks just like him.
I've
He
never
looks
seen Legally Blonde.
Okay, Legally Blonde cast. Hold on. I watched this cartoon again. I was like, okay, did he voice him? And I'm just not hearing the voice at all.
Oh,
And,
Charles Muntz is voiced by Christopher Plummer, one of the greatest actors of all time.
hold on. Victor Garber.
yeah, no, not the same.
Wait, I know Victor Garber.
I knew it wasn't the same, but he looks just like him, specifically in Legally Blonde. Maybe no one else thinks that, but please look up Victor Garber, Legally Blonde. I think, and like then add like 50 years. Okay, maybe just look up Victor Garber now. Look up Victor Garber. Just look up
Hang
Victor
on.
Garber. Are you looking at?
Hey, Victor Garber. I know who that is, yeah. He
Yeah,
was on The Flash.
Does he not look like him?
He does.
Okay, not in Legally Blonde. He does not look like him in Legally Blonde. But older him does. Okay.
Yeah, he was on The Flash and Legends of
could see
Tomorrow.
the
He's great.
photo.
Really good
Okay,
singer.
I wish this podcast could see the photo I'm looking at right now because it literally looks like they based this character off his face. Right now. Oh my gosh. I'm looking at an up animation film of Victor Garber.
I wouldn't be surprised if they did. They went for some realistic, some not realistic character designs. The thing about Pete Docter, the boy likes his shapes.
Yeah.
I was going to
And-
say, can we talk about how Karl is a very square person and they literally made his face a square?
Yeah, and Russell's basically an egg, which kind of explains why Kevin likes him.
Yes.
One little detail I really like in terms of how far Pixar has come technically. Throughout the film, Karl's face like gets more stubble on it because he's not able to shave.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just think that's a neat little detail. I like detail.
Oh, my other issue is what the heck did Russell's mom think happened to Russell? Like, was there no kidnapping report? Why would she let Karl, if I was a mom and I heard that he went to like this place with this old man, I would put Karl in prison under a child pedophile and he would not be at my child's Boy Scout ceremony at all. He would be in prison.
I mean, I get the feeling that Phyllis may not be around that much either. Like, it might be a case of nobody knew Russell was missing if his dad is gone and Phyllis doesn't live with them.
Oh, that's so sad. But he lives with his mom. Doesn't he? I don't think he lives
We
with
don't know
Phyllis.
anything about his.
No,
It may be a case where like Russell is just mostly on his own, and like Phyllis will check in every now and again.
I think he lives with his mom, and then when he tries to call his dad, Phyllis says that he calls him too much. That's what I thought.
I don't know. They left it vague
It was
enough
just
that it
like a
could be
single
anything.
mother situation. Because his dad and his mom divorced, and his dad's with Phyllis, he can't see Russell as much. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
That's a very different take than what you had. I'm sorry.
I mean, again, they left it vague enough that it could be anything.
Yeah,
Daniel, do you know that his design was based off of Pixar animator Peter Sohn?
I buy it. I mean, not to be mean to Peter Sohn, but he is kind of round.
No, that's not being mean.
He's got a full face.
He's got a full face.
And also,
so do
Pixar
I.
director Peter Sohn now.
Yeah.
He upgraded.
Yeah.
Once again, the voice animation, the voice acting is great. Pixar is really good with voice.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, the John Ratzenberger cameo this episode he was the
He was
construction
the
worker.
foreman.
Yeah.
Oh, I recognized that this time, and I thought I was proud of myself for catching that too, because it was the pig from Toy Story.
Yep.
Yep.
I can never remember his name, but I thought, oh, I need, and I
Ham.
forgot. But I thought I need to point that out on the podcast because they always mention the cameo.
Yep, he's in every single one of them.
See, I'm learning from y'all,
Oh.
Hooray!
and I got the dog poker reference.
I love dog poker paintings. Wait. In Toy Story 4, in the antique shop, there is a dog poker painting, and Doug is one of the dogs on it.
Yep. Doug was also in Ratatouille. Or
He
his
was,
shadow
yeah. He was the dog barking at Remy.
I never catch the cameos of ever of when there's another character from another movie in the movies. That was a terrible way to word that, but it makes me really mad. I never catch it.
Well, in Monsters Inc., Boo has a Nemo squeaky toy and a Jessie doll.
I did notice. I knew that, but
Yeah.
maybe it's because someone told me. But I don't know how I don't notice it because I pay so close attention to the animation. I really don't know how I miss it every time. It's kind of a miracle that I do. Because maybe I'm just focusing on the quality of the animation too much. I'm always really in tone with that. I haven't even talked about that this time. I think because I was really in love with the character arcs and the storyline.
Yeah.
Normally I go gaga for the I'm your animation and coloring detail gal. I usually got y'all on that. I'm there for you. Maybe not those plot lines or the voice actors or the behind the scenes anything, but I can look in animation and say it's good.
Hey, no one else could be our number 3.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, speaking of behind the scenes, there was one behind the scene that I saw when I was younger that I thought was perfectly morbid.
Yeah.
It was basically Pete Docter and all the story people talking about how they had no idea how they were going to kill Charles Muntz. And they were just
throw him off like every great Disney villain and Javert.
Well, it's like they kept going on and on. Like they had so many deaths planned. They storyboarded most of them. They had a little bit of animation for some of them. And I was like, wow, they killed this guy so many times.
That his death, like I said, I know it doesn't make sense that I feel bad for him, but I do. And it doesn't make sense to me either. I just do. And
I think you could consider Charles Muntz a tragic villain.
Yeah.
Simply because
I feel really
he wouldn't have become evil if the scientific community just believed he found a snipe skeleton the first time around.
He was blinded by his hubris.
He literally went crazy. He literally went
his
crazy.
His obsession destroyed him, and it's mostly his fault. But the catalyst was being rejected and disgraced.
But isn't that really human too? Not becoming a villain and you're creating an army of talking dogs and one killing.
No,
but
that's I'm starting to kind of accept it more the more we've talked about it, because when I talked about being him crazy, that made me kind of go, oh, because that's why he's so quick to jump on them, because he doesn't. I was thinking, well, why doesn't he listen to their explanation? He doesn't want to hear their explanation. He's just going to jump to the fact that everyone is out for him no matter what they do, which makes way more sense to me now that we've talked about it.
Yeah, a lot of great villains end up thinking they're the hero.
Yes. He even says they're going to praise me, my name's going to be cleared, everything's going to be great. He's crazy. I really wish they played more into that maybe, but in a way they did, and it's once again a kid's film, so you can't really do that too much. But yeah, that's good.
I mean, he does do a lot of crazy things.
He does. I don't really think they could have. It's just my own personal opinion that's probably controversial, but that's me.
Anyway, I think we're starting to exhaust our topics. Trying to think if there's anything else.
We've come a long way from our first episode.
I know we got sidetracked a few times, but we were.
What I'm saying is, remember our first episode, Daniel, where we were just like, "It's good, it's good, it's really good."
me.
We came back to that a lot, and we've stopped using that as a crutch.
Yeah.
My first episode with y'all, Incredibles, the longest episode ever, because We got so off topic.
I mean, granted, it was our episode with the most people.
Yeah. Oh, I love Olivia.
Olivia's great. I love Olivia.
Olivia, come back to us. Join the Pixar cult.
Yeah.
Well, no, we have to join her DreamWorks podcast whenever that gets off the ground.
Oh, yeah.
I called
Once
it
again, I
the
really think
episode.
we should start a Steven Universe podcast, guys.
Yeah, I want to do that as well. I've not watched Steven Universe Future yet.
I have.
I know. You were telling me about it today.
Oh, it was wonderful.
YouTube was starting to spoil it for me, so I went ahead and just watched whatever's out.
I might do that later.
I'm still not ready to critique it yet because I kind of need to see the first full season to see where they're going to go with the whole thing. Because this is so off topic.
Oh,
Sorry.
first full season. I thought this was just a 10-episode miniseries.
Yeah,
finale.
only the first 3 episodes are out though right now.
No, 6 episodes are out now.
Oh, well, I'm watching off Hulu Live.
Well then you're you're behind.
Sorry, I'm behind. But to me, only 3 episodes are out. So when I see the first season, like with the 10 episodes, first season, the first segment, I guess that was a bad way to word it. But I kind of want to see where they're going with it, just because the first series, Steven Universe had the whole, you didn't know about Steven's background. You still don't somewhat, but you kind of do now. But you don't have as much to work with, but I kind of want to see where they're going to go with it.
Yeah, I've not seen a minute of it, so...
Guys, we were just praising ourselves for staying on topic. I just want to point that out.
Oh, yeah.
Irony.
So we had done good. We had to reward ourselves.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Brief timeout. I need to get water. So if you hear water, that's what that is. Hold on. I'm thirsty. Sorry.
Yeah, I finished off my
What
water
is that
and
watery sound?
leftover Gatorade when we started, so...
And then I tend to chug when I drink water, so I'm going to go stand over here for 2 seconds. Continue to talk.
Water really is nice.
It is. You know what else is nice?
Up. Yeah. It's a good movie.
The finale is so nail-biting. I think it's just the fact that I don't do super well with heights, and they're so high.
Oh, I'm scared of heights, yeah.
Oh my gosh, I just drank so much water. That was so nice. Okay.
But when we were
Paradise Falls in your room.
Oh, y'all, that was a big blast too. That was fast. That was aggressive.
Man. So we were doing the strike today after the show. I had to get up on a ladder and remove staples from burlap, and I ended up cutting myself on accident.
Oh.
Anyway, that is to say, I was on top of a ladder, and even then, I was uneasy.
Imagine how you'd be fighting an old man with a shotgun on a Zeppelin.
Man, there are guns in this movie, like real guns.
Oh yeah, there are.
There were guns in Ratatouille.
I know. I'm just saying.
There were laser guns in Wall-E.
I know. I'm just saying. There's this one. There's a little bit of violence in this one. The old man tries to kill a child.
No, but his death. Oh my gosh, what's his name? I was blank. Muntz.
Charles Muntz.
Charles Muntz. I got so caught on the feeling bad for him. No, that kind of tugged at my heart because I know he was trying to kill them, but that was a bad way to go. That was truly a bad way to go.
If you look up that bonus feature, they had even crueler ways.
What were they? Please tell me.
I'm curious.
So the one I thought was just the worst was he actually ends up getting to Kevin's maze-like area.
Uh-huh.
And he goes in, and because of his paranoia, he's constantly seeing the bird everywhere. And he basically disappears in there, but the implication is that he runs himself ragged and eventually starves to death hunting him down in the maze because he can't get out.
Oh.
How would they even... Would it be a montage, or do you just get the idea that he's stuck in there forever?
The storyboards they showed were basically because this was before they decided the climax would be on the Zeppelin in the air. But basically he ran in there and he keeps seeing the bird everywhere, and he's just pointing his gun around, and eventually just kind of zooms out and leaves you with the implication that he's lost forever.
Oh. Well, it is yet again another great Pixar set piece climax.
I have to disagree. I think the way he died is worse because me knowing myself watching that would think, oh, they just escaped and he's hunting them and he'll give up and then come back out in like an hour. And
No. They said it earlier in the movie. If you go in that maze, like you will not be able to find your way out.
oh
Like,
wow.
Oh,
like
See,
that's why I
I'm
say the
just
implication is he starves to death or something.
See, I'm a slow bean, and I wouldn't have connected those dots, and then you would have told me that, and I would have called you a genius again if that had happened. And so I think it was cruel that he's literally leaping towards the one thing he wants, get caught on the balloons of love of Karl's, and they pop, and it's terrifying because I feel him fall as I'm watching it. I feel him fall,
Yeah.
Daniel, and you
That fall would
watch
be a
him
bad way
fall.
to go because you just spend so much time with the waiting.
And that's gonna hurt.
It would be instantaneous at that height. Like he'd hit terminal velocity soon, and then it would just.
yeah, you'd break your neck.
But
He wouldn't feel
still,
it.
it still hurts to do that.
I mean, I feel like the worst thing about a death from falling from a great height really is just you spend so much time falling that you have time to realize I'm going to die.
Dude, that gives me the
Yeah.
that freaks me out. Also, that's the same way Gaston dies, which is the other film that was nominated.
Yep.
Except you see crosses in his eyes as he's dying. If you pause your television or screening device, you see death literally in his eyes. Thanks, Disney.
Oh yeah. See a skull and crossbones. Yep.
Yep.
Those skull and crossbones and up though. Just
No, it's worse. You see the balloons break and the terror in his face before he falls to the ground. So it's worse. Oh, it's really tragic. I mean, I know he had to go, like R.I.P., but that's just a bad way to go.
they had another quote unquote death where he just kind of gets tangled in balloons and flies upward.
Oh, we'll see. Once
Would
again,
that have been worse for you or better?
That's far better.
Yeah.
Because you know it's going to happen, but you don't literally see it happening.
Like, I think the reason they didn't go with that one is because they didn't want it to be like, oh, is there going to be a sequel? Is he going to come back one day?
He comes back at the end, descending from the balloons. They're eating ice cream. He's like, just kidding.
I'm back.
I'm back.
Just up to starts. It's that scene of them getting ice cream, and you just see Muntz slowly float down, like, I'm coming for you, Karl.
That'd be embarrassing.
He comes back as Pennywise with the balloon.
No.
I mean, they're on the curb. He could have been near a drain or something.
No.
Yes.
We're not dragging it into this.
Yeah.
He's like, Russell, you want to float? Russell, do you float?
Russell will be like, yeah, I floated before. Gonna pass.
Hard pass. Also, Karl literally shut the door on Russell and said, no, you can't come in. Can we talk about that?
Yeah, they waited just long enough to make me think the first time around, like, oh, he's really not coming back.
But if he had left him outside, like jokingly, like I'm gonna leave him outside for an hour to punish him, Russell would have died. Like, did anyone realize that? Like, the thunderstorm comes like literally 30 seconds later.
Pretty much.
If Russell had just panicked in fear and like fight or flight, like, oh wait, that was the wrong fight. If he had just panicked and like froze and waited there for a few more minutes, he would have died.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Well, maybe not, because maybe he would have seen the thunder and panicked. But Karl probably wouldn't have heard him. See, this is a whole new tragedy. And then you have Muntz 2.0 with Russell, and it's all that more tragic. Dun dun dun.
That's interesting. I never thought of that.
I did. I was terrified for Russell because that looked scary. Maybe I don't like heights, guys.
I don't.
I can't think of many people who do.
I mean, I don't, but I mean, I guess to an extent I have a fear of heights, but at the same time I don't, because like I'll do like 3-story. Well, that's not that high, but like those little tiny rope course things, and I'll zip. I've done like super high zip lining things, so I mean I can deal with it. I'm not gonna freak out, but I don't like that. But then at the same time, I got like on a 2-foot ladder like the other day, and I was like, this is terrifying. I'm going to fall.
Yeah.
I don't know why that scares me more. Anyway.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, also, I know we briefly mentioned it, but the animation where the little girl jumps up at the window and the balloons are flying, that whole montage is beautiful.
It's
As
a
the
good
house
shot.
is ascending into the sky. That's probably my favorite shot in the movie. I specifically
Yeah.
remember that shot.
I'm really glad they decided to include that one. Color. I like color.
Color is nice.
Yeah. And the music is nice.
It really is.
Because it's the same music from before. They literally
It's a
use that
theme.
song. They just changed the dynamics and
Yeah,
speed of it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a leitmotif.
leitmotif.
Yeah. And yeah. Because then it'll be dun, 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 and you'll be like, okay, it's time to cry.
I mean, yeah, I was about to say that's literally like a Pavlovian reaction to like get my waterworks flowing.
Michael
But then-
Giacchino is
yeah.
really good at leitmotifs in my mind.
He's one of my maybe top 5 composers.
Because I mean, Up, Inside Out, Incredibles, like I know those themes.
I like his music for Spider-Man also. Wow, I just praised MCU Spider-Man movies.
You praise
I'm kidding.
Michael Giacchino.
I'm saying Homecoming and Far From Home are fine. They're not like great, but they're fine.
They're no Up.
They're no Up.
Few movies are of this caliber.
I heard that, kid.
I was thinking no one heard that. Mm-hmm. I try to restrain myself from doing that on the podcast, but I can't help it. I make a lot of really bad your mom jokes that don't make sense, but they're intended to not make sense. Well, I can make them make sense, but that's usually inappropriate. But
are you the muscle man of our group?
Yes, I am.
You know,
My
Elves
mom.
is the muscle. Wait, do you like regular show?
Okay, it wasn't like one of my favorites, but I watched it. Yeah, like I liked it.
I love it. Mordecai is literally me.
Oh my gosh, he is. It was a little. It kind of. I feel like maybe I try to rewatch it, but I wasn't as into it just because I don't know. But some of the stuff like in the later episodes freaked me out more as a kid, just because. Well, I wasn't even a kid then; I was older. But first, I don't like animation that gets too
surreal.
Adult or surreal or freaky. Like some of the Adult Swim stuff gets a little much for me.
I don't really like Rick and Morty.
Hey, Noah, have you ever watched
I saw an episode of that, which is weird because I liked it. I get very picky about stuff. Like I love Family Guy, but I don't like American Dad. I don't know why. I think it's because the humors are a little different, and sometimes it depends on the animation. Like I haven't watched Futurama. Maybe I should give it a shot. But this is very different animation than Pixar. But I feel like I wouldn't like it.
Hey, Brad Bird got a start on The Simpsons.
I like The Simpsons.
I love early Simpsons. Like that's why I've been binging on Disney Plus.
See, those are the ones I've seen more of. I haven't really seen the recent Simpsons.
They're bad. Don't watch them.
Simpsons. I like it because the earlier Simpsons. Why can't I say Simpsons? There we go. Because they're more wholesome, fun, I guess. But
yeah.
I get picky. It depends. So regular show, like I remember there was an episode with a bear and like his face came off and he was a robot. That really freaked me out. Yeah,
That predated Five Nights at Freddy's also.
Yeah, that's literally what I was about to say. I didn't like that whole vibe. Like when I was younger, I didn't like Lemon Grab and Adventure Time, but then I love Adventure Time.
Lemon Grab is my favorite character.
He's the best. He's so funny. Like, but
This
when I
castle
was
is
when I was
unacceptable
condition. But when I was 10 and he ate people, I found that disturbing.
When he ate his clone husband.
Yeah, that was very disturbing to me.
Yeah.
But now, that's great. And I love Adventure Time so much.
So do I.
Adventure Time? I got way off track. Don't get mad at me. Yeah.
Tangent time.
With Chick the dog and Finn the human.
I really love the Fiona and Cake Adventure Time universe.
Yeah.
So you're into Ice King's fan fiction.
Oh man, I keep forgetting that it is canonically Ice King's fan fiction.
How do y'all feel about Ice King?
I love Ice King. I love like pathetic
Ice King
characters,
is great.
but he has such a rich backstory.
Once again, when I was younger and didn't like the I guess blunter, darker humor of it, I did not like Ice King. Now Ice King is great.
Yeah.
But the most of the time I just feel so bad for Ice King.
Yeah.
I just feel such pity. I love Simon. I love Simon so much. I love Simon.
I feel like Karl could have turned into Ice King if he just had a few more years of grief and misery.
That's what Muntz did.
Yeah. Grief and misery can do a lot to people. It can turn you into Batman.
Oh my gosh. The dogs were Muntz's versions of Ice King's princesses.
Or the penguins.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that makes more sense.
The dogs are Muntz's gum.
Why doesn't the princess want to marry me?
Wait, Kevin's princess bubblegum.
Or as she's referred to by YouTuber Jello Apocalypse in his, so this is basically a Adventure Time video, War Crime McGrime.
Yep.
Anybody hear my laugh just then? That was horrifying. That was like
it was a little bit.
That was like my real, like, you know that thing where you press on people's chest and you hear their real laugh? That was like that.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You don't know? Oh, Jaren. You lay on the ground, you cross your hands on your chest, you breathe in, someone lightly, like, well, not like a little pressure puts in your chest, and you breathe out and start laughing, and your real laugh comes out, and it's so funny.
Well, that sounds horrific.
But mine is something of a horse, and a little bit of what just happened.
Something of a horse is a great band name.
But my laugh used to be just wheezing, and like over the last year, it's become and it's not good.
At dinner tonight, me and my friend Sam, we were doing Seth Rogen laughs.
Yeah, that's about what mine sounds like. Anyway, I've gone so off topic. Someone needs to stop me.
Well, I think we've exhausted all. Huh?
I was about to say what you're about to say, Jeremy.
I think we've exhausted all of our topics for this evening, boys and girls.
Yeah.
So too. Let's get at least some closing thoughts on Up so we can end it.
So wouldn't you say it's time to talk about what we've learned today? And so what we have learned applies to our life. Wait.
Okay. Closing thoughts on Up. Even though I claimed the opening montage is the weakest part of the movie, it's still so good.
Yeah.
But people need to get past this stupid notion that Up is only good for the first 10 minutes or something.
I was one of those people, and I'm no longer one of them.
I did not know that was the thing. If you are listening and you're one of those people, you're wrong. I'm sorry.
I was thinking you're about to say, I will break your kneecap, or something like that.
Your opinion matters, but right now your opinion is trash.
Yeah.
You're wrong.
Trash matters. We have too much of it. But
that's what
that was last week's
Wally
episode,
said.
buddy.
Did you see how Wally turned out? They're all fat people on a ship, Daniel.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the moral of this story is don't have trash opinions or you'll be fat.
Yeah, so like Up, you haters.
What's wrong with being fat?
Okay, I think fat is a social construct. I think everyone is beautiful in their own right, and I would not like to get on that because it is a beauty standard that should not exist. You are all fabulous people. You beautiful, beautiful listeners. Thank you.
That is true, but fat is also like a literal thing in the body.
It
Just
is.
pointing that out.
Okay, that too, but that's like fat can be good for you. I'm talking about the negative fat. And also, I'd like to apologize because I did it just then, and I believe I used fat negatively last week, even though we laughed at it, and I would like to apologize. All those people on the ship were beautiful and misguided. Thank you.
Let it be known, Nora does not body shame.
No. And I felt like I did, and I was listening back, and I was like,
Oh,
Nora, stop. And I did it just then, too. So I'm sorry.
Darren, you did the accidental camera thing.
You did. But I feel really bad about that. That's like, yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay, well.
Well, we've learned a lot today, friends.
Yeah, like Up is a good-ass movie.
It really
and
is.
And also, Kevin equals Ellie. I'm standing by that one.
Yep, I'm not getting over that.
Doug is the best Pixar character.
And good night.
Good night.